Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're reaching back over a century, cracking open a guide from 1915 to see what it can teach us about powerful speaking in our world today. And trust me, the secrets are surprisingly potent.
You know that feeling, right? That cold dread right before you have to get up and speak. Your heart starts pounding, your knees feel a little shaky. It's a feeling pretty much all of us know.
Well, it turns out that exact feeling is what a guide written way back in 1915 was designed to conquer. So today, we're diving into this classic, The Art of Public Speaking, to pull out its most timeless secrets for commanding a room.
Okay, so the book's very first lesson is also its most important one. It says, real courage isn't about being fearless, it's about mastering the fear you already have.
And here's a really fascinating take on it. The book says stage fright isn't a weakness at all. It's actually a sign that you have a finely tuned nervous system. You're not some slow, plodding dray horse. You're a champion racehorse full of energy. That feeling, that's the raw material for a great speech. Now, the book is really careful about the idea of confidence. It's a fine line. On one hand, being overconfident is just, well, they call it conceit. But what's even worse is giving into those feelings of failure. The authors are blunt here, calling that the mark of a rabbit-hearted coward who literally invites disaster. So here's the crucial point. Your mindset is your most powerful weapon. The book quotes a professor who says your mental attitude is way more important than your mental capacity. The advice is simple, but it's deep. You have to consciously kick out that fear attitude and deliberately, actively put on the confident one. All right, so let's say you've stared down your fear. You're ready. But now you've got to avoid what the authors call the greatest sin a speaker can possibly commit: monotony. And they do not mince words. Monotony is the curse of sameness. They call it wearisome, even maddening. It's the fastest way to lose an audience, and worse, it just broadcasts your own limitations to everyone listening. To make this point, the authors use this brilliant analogy. First, they say, just look at the natural world. Think about bird songs, forests, mountains. Nature is full of this incredible, captivating variety.
But then you have man who, because of his own self-imposed limitation,
Is often just terribly monotonous. Think of endless rows of identical, boring buildings. The message is crystal clear. We have to actively fight our tendency to be the same and get a little more of nature's variety into our delivery. But they don't just leave you with the problem. They give you the solution. It's a simple toolkit with 3 essential instruments: changing your pitch, changing your pace, and using emphasis. It's like having the keys on a piano. You can use them to create a beautiful melody instead of just banging on a single boring note. And you know, one of the best ways to change your pace and add some real drama is to get really good at using the pause. A pause is not just dead air. It's not a mistake where you forgot your words. According to this book, a pause is silence made designedly eloquent. It's a powerful tool, but you have to use it on purpose. So the book lays out 2 killer ways to use it. First, you pause before you drop an important idea. This builds suspense, it gathers your own energy. Then you pause after that big idea. You give it space to land, to really penetrate the listener's mind, and, as they say, soak in. To really drive home that soak-in point, the book shares this fantastic, funny story about a deacon praying for rain. He doesn't ask for a flood, a chunk floater as he calls it. He prays, just give us a good old drizzle-drazzle, a gentle, effective rain. And your speech should be just like that, a drizzle-drazzle of ideas, not a fire hose that just washes everything away. Okay, so you've conquered fear, you're mixing up your delivery, you're using powerful pauses. The final piece of the puzzle, according to this 1915 guide, is delivering everything with force. But that brings up a really important question, one the authors hit head on. What does force actually mean? Does it just mean you have to yell? And the answer is a huge, emphatic no. Yelling, they write, is not a sign of earnestness, intelligence, or feeling. Real force is about intensity. It's about earnestness. It's an internal energy that has to come from deep inside you and flow outward.
It's all about passion, not lung power. And this leads to what might be the most direct, maybe the most challenging piece of advice in the whole book. An audience will never, ever be moved by something that just seems true to you. They can feel your conviction or your lack of it. So if you can't speak with conviction, the book's advice is simple. Be silent. So how do we pull all of these incredible, timeless secrets together? Conquering fear, avoiding monotony, using the pause, speaking with real, authentic force. How do we do it? The authors bring us right back to the beginning with one final, very emphatic command. The only way to get good at this stuff is relentless practice. Just like you learn to swim by getting in the water and swimming, you learn to speak by speaking.
And that is really the ultimate takeaway from this amazing 1915 guide. Great speaking isn't some magical gift you're born with. It's a craft. It is an attainable skill that any one of us can build with a little bit of courage, the right techniques, and a lot of dedicated practice.
The book ends by reminding us that all the progress in the world belongs to those who have dared. So this century-old text leaves us all with one final, urgent question. What is the effective word that's in your heart to speak?